Perhaps they won't. I don't know. You ready? Okay, this is the scheduled meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. And tonight, it's deliberations and findings of fact on mislocated building appeal for Point East 2 condominium. Point East 2 Condominium Association of 1801 Post Road, further identified as Assessor's Map 139 Lot 33B, is requesting a mislocated building appeal pursuant to Article 9, Section 145-67A5. The property includes 3 dwelling units and 102 motel units. The mislocated building appeal is for the lodging office, 3-unit dwelling structure, and motel building 1, which were built within the required setbacks. Represented by attorney Ryan Lizanes. He's not here, so I'm glad he doesn't hear how I butchered his name. With Jensen Baird, attorney at law. I'd like to welcome Michael Braniff.
Hello, everyone.
Hopefully this will be a relatively brief meeting, but we'll see. Mary wrote the findings of fact, for which I'm very thankful. Mary, would you mind reading them? And then we'll discuss and edit as we go.
Okay, I dated it today's date, March 10th, 2025. Regarding Point East 2 Condominium Association, 1801 Post Road, Wells, Maine, 04090. It's a mislocated building appeal. So the findings of facts and conclusions. On February 3rd, 2025, the Zoning Board of Appeals, ZBA of Wells, Maine, held a public hearing for a mislocated building appeal pursuant to Article 9, Section 145-67A5. The appeal was submitted by Ryan D. Zanuck, attorney with Jensen Baird Attorneys at Law on behalf of Point East 2 Condominium Association, also known as the Association. Owners of property located 1801 Post Road in Wells, tax map 139, lot 33B, the property. Present at the February 3rd, 2025 meeting were Chairman Wilbur Gosby, Vice Chairman John Ardini, Board members John McDermott, Thomas Pulsifer, Jason Heft, and Associate members Mary Madura and Larry Duell. Also present were Director of Code Enforcement Jodine Adams, Administrative Assistant Stacy LePage, and Assistant Code Enforcement Officer Joel Paris. In attendance on February 3rd, 2025, on behalf of the applicants were Ryan D. Lizanuck, attorney, and I did not get the name of the property manager.
It's Jarrett.
Jarrett,
Jarrett.
J-A, you said?
Yeah, Jarret.
E-T,
Weigel. Weigel.
thank you, property manager.
Okay. Before we go any further, no, we can wait until we actually vote, just in case people show up.
Is that Jarrett instead of Derek?
Yes, Jarrett.
Okay.
Everybody good with the findings of fact conclusion so far? Okay. All right, Mary, if you could continue.
Background. The property consists of 3 dwelling units and 102 motel units. The association is applying for a mislocated building appeal regarding its lodging office, 3-unit dwelling building, and motel building 1, together known as the buildings. On November 4, 2025, the Town of Wells Planning Board, granted retroactive approval for various modifications made to the property since the original 1985 approval. These improvements included the addition of a patio, new walkways, expansions to the pool and hot tub areas, an expanded pool house, and the removal of 2 parking spaces and a vehicle turnaround. The current survey of the site plan revealed that the 3 buildings noted in the application are located within the required setbacks along the north side.
I noticed on the Jensen Baird submittal, they said that the meeting was on November 18 instead of November 4.
I'll verify that.
Yeah. So that would just be a matter of changing that date to, from 4 to 18.
You're right, and that should be 2024, sorry.
Oh, yes, I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Getting
Yeah, that's
ahead.
kind of important too, I guess.
I did actually
I
notice
spent the
that.
whole month of January writing this last year, sometimes.
I did actually notice that, and by saying November 4th, I went by what Ms. Adams had stated during the meeting on February 3rd,
Oh,
that it was November 4th.
Yeah, I'll verify that,
verify which.
whether it was the 4th or the 18th.
Okay, which was it?
I can't tell you at this moment. I'll double check, I can't tell you.
I didn't see a meeting listed on the 18th.
I didn't research the planning board stuff, I just looked at their submittal and they said November 18th.
11/4,
Pardon?
11/4/2024.
Okay, so their submittal was incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
And that actually coincides with the planning board meeting minutes.
Yeah, I didn't look at that. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mary.
The property is located in the General Business District, RP, and Shoreland Overlay District. The structures in question are all located within the General District Zoning District, Chapter 145 Land Use. Setbacks in the General Business District are 40 foot from the front property line. Setbacks in the General Business District are 15 foot from the front property line.
And that was an error that was in Mr. Genero's submittal, I believe. It really should be from any lot line, I believe, is that correct, Jody?
It's 15 feet from any lot line except for the
Yes.
front, so it's the sides and rear.
Right, so that should, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to define 40 feet and 15 feet for the same line. So the second one where it says 15 feet, it's from any lot line.
The 40 foot is still correct?
That is, yes, because it's a state road.
Any lot line. Lodging facilities, chapter 145-52I4A and C. There shall be a buffer strip of at least 25 feet in width adjacent to all lot lines of natural or planted vegetation. Cemeteries, chapter 100 was adopted on 3/6/1987, amended in 1993 and 2001. 100-4B, no building, structure, or edifice, excepting those existing on the effective date of this chapter and those incidental to the operation of the cemetery shall be erected or placed within 25 feet of any grave site.
Everybody good with that so far? Under jurisdiction, I had no comment except I added the ZBA has jurisdiction as stated by chapter 145-67A5. That was my only comment. The rest of it's right out of the ordinance. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
On to findings of fact.
Chairman Gosby noted that the appellant has standing, the board has jurisdiction, and there were no conflict of interest of board members of this issue. The site plan of the property was approved in 1985. An amendment was approved by the planning board on 11/4/2024, with the condition requiring a mislocated buildings appeal be granted by the zoning board of appeals no later than April 1, 2025. The lodging office for the motel extends 10.7 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer and 0.7 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback. The 3-unit dwelling building extends 11.7 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer and 1.7 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback. Building 1 extends 11.2 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer, 1.2 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback, and 1.4 feet into the 25-foot wide cemetery buffer.
All good, I think. Agree? Yeah.
The three buildings in question were built between 1981 and 1986. Zoning setbacks have remained at 15 feet for sideline setbacks. Current practices and policies to verify setback compliance were not used by the Code Enforcement Office in the 1980s when the structures were built. The 25-foot landscape buffer was not in the ordinance in the 1980s and was added on 11/5/2013. The cemetery standards and the 25-foot setback were established by ordinance on 3/6/1987. The buildings have not expanded in footprint since construction in 1981 and 1986. Attorney Lazanik, on behalf of Point East 2 Condominium Association, that the appellants agree that A, approving the location of the buildings is not contrary to the public interest, and B, there is no evidence of willful or premeditated action nor gross negligence in constructing the buildings within the setback. Jodine Adams, Director of Code Enforcement, affirmed that the current survey presented to the planning board on 11/4/2024 does not match the 1985 original survey. The original survey did not place survey pins. The requirement for a cemetery setback of 25 feet was not in place in 1985. Chapter 145-26F 6-4 states setbacks must be 40 feet from any lot line abutting the right-of-way of any state highway. During the public hearing, there was no feedback against the granting of these appeals.
Okay, everybody good?
I don't know if I wanna, I'm not clear that, or it should be clearer, that when this was built, it was in compliance, really. And that the ordinances of the 15-foot, the 25-foot, the 40-foot, all came after its construction. I mean, it's within a foot of,
I think those setback requirements for lot lines in the state road were there.
well, these aren't, that's not an issue on this state road is
But the
one.
cemetery,
But that wasn't there,
that was not even in the ordinance.
that wasn't in the ordinance yet, so it complied when it was built.
It did.
And the 15-foot
So
mark,
really,
they complied with it within,
Technically,
within
that
inches.
aspect of it, it would be a non-conforming building of record, I guess you could say.
conforming when
Which means
constructed,
it's grandfathered.
Yeah, I mean, it's grandfathered, should we
Yeah.
put something like that in there?
Well, I think we've stated, we can add that. That
This
the,
seems to be more of just of a clarification, a
yeah,
mislocated building for future
right,
reference with the planning
that
board.
the requirements for setback from cemeteries were not in the ordinance at the time these buildings were constructed.
And even the 15-foot one, it says they're 25 feet, and the encroach is 11 feet into it, so they're still, you know.
Well, that would be non-compliant, wouldn't it?
Wow, I mean, that they were pretty close to compliant when it was built, you know. Human error, I think,
Well, I
a
think,
foot away.
well, the other thing that comes into it is how accurate was the survey.
Yeah, that's
You know,
what
you get two different surveyors out there, you know, especially where the guy didn't put pins out.
Yeah.
You don't really know where it was.
I think they made the effort, but it just didn't work out too well for them in
Yeah.
1980.
I know my place has been surveyed 2 or 3 times and the back lot just keeps going like that. So, I mean, we just don't know. We know that the current survey says that they are within setbacks. But certainly the cemetery, that wasn't even a requirement then.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we wanted to say, make that clear that when it was constructed, it seems like they,
Just a statement that when the buildings were constructed,
that they were, I'm gonna say, you can't say they were in compliance because they're about a foot off, but
well, I think, well, in the 80s, I know that they weren't as rigorous about inspecting for setbacks and things as they are now. And also, maybe it wasn't the top-notch surveyor, I don't know. I'm serious, I mean, I know for my own property that 2 or 3 different guys have surveyed it, not on my count, but the lots being sold around it. and my back line keeps moving back and forth.
Well, I leave it to the discretion of the chairman, I just didn't know if we wanted any more clarification.
I think we're okay.
Okay, I'm fine with it then.
If everyone else is okay. Conclusions.
I stopped it before discussion. The board discussed the facts as presented.
Oh, yeah.
If the board grants the mislocated building appeal, the three buildings would become non-conforming. The board agreed that each building should be addressed separately for the vote. Conclusions, the board concluded that the lodging office for the motel extends 10.7 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer and 0.7 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback. The building is not contrary to the public interest, is not a result of willful or premeditated action, and is not due to gross negligence. The 3-unit dwelling building extends 11.7 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer and 1.7 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback. The building is not contrary to the public interest, is not a result of willful or premeditated action, and is not due to gross negligence. Building 1 extends 11.2 feet into the 25-foot wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer, 1.2 feet into the 15-foot wide side setback, and 1.4 feet into the 25-foot wide cemetery buffer. The building is not contrary to the public interest, is not a result of willful or premeditated action, and is not due to gross negligence.
Okay, I'm good with it. How's everyone?
Through the chair,
Yes, ma'am.
line 25 on page 3 would be, line 26 actually, be legally non-conforming, not just non-conforming, if you grant the appeal.
So, let me catch up with you again, Joe.
Line 26,
Yeah,
it would be, become legally non-conforming.
legally non-conforming, yes, that's an important word.
Legally, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, before we go any further, since a couple of folks didn't show up, let's see if I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mr. Brannon, you did not attend the meeting for this appeal. Have you familiarized yourself with it?
I have, I watched the entire meeting from February 3rd, and I also reviewed all the documents involved,
Okay,
including
And,
the site plan drawings and everything else.
okay, very good. And the rest of us were actually at the meeting. So since only 2 regular members are here tonight, the associate members, Mary Medora, Michael Braniff, and
Larry Dool.
Larry Dool will be voting for this appeal. I took some liberties, Mary, with your decisions and vote. And let me run it by the board here, see what you think. I think, make it a little simpler perhaps. I do think it's important that we vote on them individually. This is kind of weird, I never saw a mislocated building appeal for 3 buildings at once, you know?
You have another one of
And I
those?
guess,
Oh, yeah.
These are extras.
yeah, thanks. So, anyway, I'll read you what I have and see if you guys agree that it's okay to go this way. Based on the above findings of fact and conclusions, on March 10, 2025, the Wells Zoning Board of Appeals decided by a vote to grant the mislocated building appeal for the lodging office. And I did the same thing for the other 2 buildings. Does anybody have a hard spot with writing it that way?
Other than that they're referred to as buildings 1, 2, and 3 in the other pages, I don't know if we should
Well,
keep that in the final decision too.
do we?
It does say at the third one at the end that
Building
it is
1,
described
Unit
as
3,
building
and
one.
then lodging office. Yeah, I guess
Okay,
so.
we wanna make it match then.
Oh, yeah, you've got it matching, that's,
Yeah, I think
Mary,
so,
yeah.
that's how they describe it.
yeah, she has building 1, Unit 3, and lodging office.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
As long as the language matches his.
Yeah, I think they do.
Through the chair, on the third one, building 1, do you wanna put motel building 1?
Yeah, we
That's
can do
what they
that,
used in
sure.
the, that's what they used in the,
Motel building 1,
yes.
okay, sure. Any other comments before we vote on this stuff? Are we going with this, or are we gonna,
Let's go with, our chairman, I recommend we go with your draft.
okay. All right then. Let me read this again. Based on the above findings of fact and conclusions on March 10, 2025, the Wells Zoning Board of Appeals decided by a vote to grant the mislocated building appeal for the lodging office. Do we have any further discussion on that? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion that we grant that appeal.
Make that motion.
Second?
All in favor? 5-0. Based on the above findings of fact and conclusions on March 10, 2025, the Wells Zoning Board of Appeals decided by a vote to grant the mislocated building appeal for the 3-unit dwelling building. Any further discussion on that one? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to grant the appeal.
So motioned.
Second?
All in favor? Based on the above findings of fact and conclusions on March 10, 2025, the Wells Zoning Board of Appeals decided by a vote to grant the mislocated building appeal for the building described as Motel Building 1. Any further discussion? I would entertain a motion to grant that appeal.
So motioned.
Second?
All in favor? Okay. Moving on. This is another thing I'm not too familiar with. Oh, it's on a different piece of paper. I think we're done.
We have to vote to have you sign for the,
Oh, yeah, there it is. Is that, Jodine, is that a thing that we just never did before?
What are we looking at right now?
At the bottom of page 4, it's authorizing me to sign the findings of fact and conclusions.
No, I don't think we have done that before.
It was on a few examples.
Some of them,
Yes.
Dr. Cohen always used to do it before.
we used to put it in the minutes usually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not aware that it's actually required that we vote on that. You know?
Yeah, I remember we used to, when Dr. Cohen was here, we always had him, always authorized him to sign for it.
Right.
I don't know what the procedure was that he did.
It was
but-
because the chair wasn't there and he was acting as the assistant chair, so that's where he was getting the permission.
Okay, so if I weren't there, then you would have to, I'm not even sure you have to do that, but
Okay.
I don't think we need to do that.
Okay.
Unless somebody really, really, really wants to.
Let me get an extra vote on my first go.
And that's all we had on the agenda, I believe, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask, am I now required to redo these?
No.
No,
No?
no, staff will do that.
Okay.
And thank you so much, Mary. I mean, I know that writing findings are no fun. I wrote 1 or 2 when I was on the board before. And you did a great job, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
I just want to be able to say again, wide multifamily development lodging facility buffer 3 times and trip on it.
So, does anybody have anything they wanna talk about before we adjourn, or are we all good?
We got something coming up So the schedule a little bit, it's been changed, right?
We do have, Jodine, you wanna talk about that?
There's going to be, because I'm going to be on vacation, it's a rather large appeal. We'll be doing it on April 9th at 7 p.m. And you will have representation from the town attorney.
The 9th or the 7th,
The 9th,
a Wednesday?
yes. It's the only time that I could coordinate all of the people that are going to be there.
Okay.
So you're going on a trip, are you back by then?
No, I'm not going until the week after,
Oh, okay.
so the normal meeting would be on the 14th.
Oh, okay, so you are gonna be there
Yes,
because you are going on vacation afterward.
yes,
Ah.
Warm, sunny location?
not really.
Ah.
Medium.
Medium, okay.
Um,
Okay, so that's on the 9th, and then another one on the 24th, there's an appeal coming up.
The one on the
24th is this month.
yeah, that one was actually gonna be the meeting that we just moved forward to the 9th, so we have
So
nothing.
there's nothing on the 24th, okay.
Yes,
What about April 28th? Is that gonna be the findings from the one on the 9th?
I think that's gonna depend. Because they're probably gonna be written by the town attorney,
Okay.
so they might, if it was anything like Lobster Lane, they'll go back and forth between each other, some.
yeah, well, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
You have to discuss this package of floodplain management at all, or is this just for reading?
It's just so you are aware of that ordinance, it's one of the, another ordinance that can be appealed through the zoning board.
Okay. Do we have all of the, I know, prior to this, I only had chapter 145.
Mhm.
I know sometimes we get appeals of planning board stuff, or we could.
Right, in chapter 1, the planning board is, all the planning board stuff is in 145.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we should be good to go with this.
You'll receive your packet, which is actually gonna be a binder, so you are gonna have to pick it up.
Mhm.
And that will probably be ready, I wanna give you at least a good week to be able to review it.
Is that substantial?
Quite large. It's probably a, it's probably like that.
War and Peace.
So we wanna try and get it to you by the week of the 24th, so you have a couple weeks to look at it.
Anything else we need to know?
I don't think so.
Anybody got any more comments? If we're all good, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn.
Second?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adjournment? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.